Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is another gorgeous day. And not only just that, it's a day that I can definitely tap in on something that I think is extremely important for women to consider. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Coach Carla Nicole. My spiritual mission is to make sure that I provide as much as I can to replenish this planet while I'm here, right? And so today I want to get started on talking about something that I've been hearing a lot about, coming from a lot of men, a lot of guys just extremely frustrated. They're also just wanting to get clarity on how to make things better. Okay? So rather than talking about all that's not going right, why don't I fill you ladies in on what's important that you may want to consider in your love affairs. So here's the thing. In relationships, when we're in them, we should be mindful that no matter what, we have to bring a peaceful calm to a man while we're in a relationship. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is most of the time it's the women that are clawing, desiring, wanting, I'm talking about just in utter despair when they don't have relationships. So I'm helping you to see that if that's what you're desiring, then in order to have one that is functional and enjoyable while you have it, you want to be mindful that bringing a man peace is essentially important. Now, I know we get a little bogged down with, that's all men talk about. They only want to talk about wanting peace, but is he bringing peace and all this other stuff? Of course, we always have to settle our minds. To settle our minds, we often have to default back to what he's not doing. But I want you guys, ladies, to listen for a change and just hear me out, rather than going to this default attitude that, why should I have to do this? You don't have to do anything. But if you want a decent relationship, it's something you may want to consider, because there's a lot of people that are in relationships, but it doesn't mean they're in any joy while they're in them. So I'm helping you to see there's a way to which you can bring peace. I'm not going to give it all, because you'd have to, get, pay me and get coached by me to get some really deep information about it. But I will give you some surface information that maybe you never think about, because we're just doing it our way without really evaluating if our way is a good way, right? So the number one problem that I find in most of our female personalities is that we have a tendency to nag a lot. We also have a tendency to get an attitude. Two majors. The nagging part and the attitude part are the two major reasons why we are not bringing him any type of real peace. I want to first talk about nagging, shall we? So let me just tell you that nagging is something that most likely, if you had a mom and you were raised by a woman, you know for a fact that most of the time, while being raised by a mom and the father is in the home, there was oftentimes a lot of nagging going on. Let me explain what nagging does to the male mind and to the man's ears. It's like taking your nails and scraping it on a cardboard box and just continually just scraping and causing him agony. Nagging is never good, not for a man. You are going to get less positive results by nagging than you would doing it a different way. But unfortunately, we only do what we know how to do based on our own experience and how we were raised. So a lot of us were raised with nagging moms, and after a while, the nagging actually becomes effective. So they figure, well, if I nag enough, I get my way, I'm successful. Well, are you? Because one of the things that I know that I personally cannot stand is nagging. Now, I made it my own personal decision when I was raised by a mother that did a lot of nagging. Bless her soul. But she did. And it would irritate the living crap out of me. Love my mother dearly, but her and I had just completely different personalities. And my mother loved to nag. And I was like, my God, if she would just stop. Please, just stop. It's just too much. What we don't understand about nagging is a lot of times when we do all this nagging, we're not doing anything but causing a lot of frustration in the mind of the man. So while you're doing all of this nagging is causing so much headache to him that he's actually just shutting down internally when you're doing all that fussing and nagging. And so I like to express to you that here's what nagging really is, so you can also get the understanding of how nagging even came to be. Nagging came to be because when we were young and little, we were whining little girls. And when we wanted something, we would throw tantrums, or we would cry, or we would stomp our little feet, or we would complain and complain and complain and complain to the point where either it worked and our mother or parent accepted it and allowed it. So then we would just see it as a very good go-to major way to get what we wanted. Young. And so as we age, we can no longer, well, we can, but it looks really childish to do this. So what we wanted, we got based upon our tantrums, our temper tantrums, our complaining. And what that evolves into as a grown woman is it develops into nagging. And so when we're nagging our man to death about what it is we want, and he starts to do it for us, we think it's effective. But what it is it is irritating as hell to the man's mind. He cannot stand it. It really boils his blood. It gets on his everlasting nerve. And just for you to shut up, yes, he'll do it. But that is not a reason for you to continue to just nag the man to death. It doesn't make sense. This is number one reason why men get so frustrated about, number one, being in the relationships they're in, or even wanting to be or consider getting in a relationship, because all of the nagging gets to be too much. Okay? That making sense? That's number one. Because if we don't get this down pat and we don't start paying attention to how irritating it is to listen to the nagging woman about what she wants and what she can't have, and why can't you do this for me? I just want a relationship, but my man don't do this and don't do that, and you do all that complaining, and yet you think you're going to bring a man peace? No. A lot of men are at wit's end. And they're so sick of it that they just do it so you'll shut up. But that's not really effective. That doesn't help intimacy. That isn't harmonious. That isn't the reason why a man wants to come home and rush home to you and just can't wait to see you. Most men are sitting in their cars waiting to just get the nerve up to go in the house. Because he doesn't know what it is or what it's going to be today. Is she going to complain about this? Is she going to ask for that? What haven't I done? See, and that is not a reason for you to think that that's effective. It's not. You have to change that way of thinking. And so I want you to consider asking yourself a very intricate question. Where did I get this behavior from? Where? And why do I continue to do this? Because you have to find out, in order to change being his agony to becoming his peace, in order to be different and converting into a woman that a man loves to be around versus a woman that a man is just over coming home to, you got to do some major changing. And the first one is stop all the damn nagging. That shit's irritating. And here's what's the truth, okay? I'm going to get raw about why we nag, because I really don't, you know me, I don't care if I step on toes right now. The reason why we like to do all this nagging is this. We have an issue with taking care of certain things that we should be taking care of, that we expect a man to do because he's with us. We think he should be doing everything we want him to do. But I'm going to give you a skinny that my father gave me when I was very young. He told me, if you want something, get it yourself. No man's going to make you happy. And I thought, oh my goodness, you should have heard the back and forth between my mother and my father about this conversation. It went rounds. I'm talking about rounds. My father said, I don't need a man to make me happy. And my mother was saying, oh, yes, she does. And men will make you happy. And he said, no, they don't. Only you can do that. So, off record, after the big, huge blowout happened, and I'm looking at both of them like, I don't understand all this, but okay. My dad pulls me in, one-on-one. He said, let me tell you something. No man can make you happy. And I was like, really? He said, a man only knows what to do for you when you tell him. I'm going to let that sink. A man only knows what to do for you when you tell him. Challenge me on this. Ask a man to stand there and make you happy. I thought, oh, okay, Pop, I got it now. That's not how it works, baby girl. That's not how it works. So, ladies, we have a tendency, okay, to get merely caught up in having all of our wants taken care of by our lover or our man that we're with. We expect him to just know that we want our nails done, we want our petties, we want our spa days, we want to go to these fancy restaurants. We just expect him to know that. Men are not wired that way. And all of these high expectations that we have about what we want him to do is costing us all of the joy and inner joy that we could be having inside, because we're angry with him constantly about what he's not doing, rather than making our happiness our responsibility, allowing that man to be who he is. Spend time with him outside of trying to tell him everything you want and expecting him to do it so you're happy, and all this stuff is silly. This is madness. And this is why men are in agony at home. They're texting me. They're calling me. I'm coaching them. They're in agony at home. Because You are not being honest with you. Only you can serve yourself, your husband, your man, your partner, your boyfriend or your boyfriends, or your men or your husbands, whatever you got it going on. I get it. They are not, and he is not responsible for you. So all of this nagging you're doing is absolutely unacceptable. It's dreadful for him. To be a man's peace, stop the nagging. Because if you learn how to stop nagging, you will start to see that that man that you want to be in your space will love being in your space more. He'll be calling, checking for you to see when you can see, when he can get over there to see you. Not, oh God, I don't feel like coming over there today. Men cannot tell us what they want, but what they want is a welcoming energy from you. Let me explain to you what welcoming feels like. Okay? Because I'm not telling you to be fake and put on all this jumping in his arms and shit. I'm not talking about that. That's not real. I'm talking about in your authentic self and in your own personal style. Learn how to become a woman that is a joy to be around. In his presence. Are you welcoming him? Does he feel cool just to be here? You don't even got to be talking. Sometimes he just wants your energy. He just wants to feel you give a damn about him. Can you do that? Because see, we spend a lot of time wanting and asking for stuff. Asking for our spa days and asking for our nails and hair done. And we want to get this done. And we got to get this car and all this stuff. But we never sit down and think, how can I bring him more peace? When he comes in the door, does he feel important? Is he at the top of my world? Or does he often question, does this woman even care about me? Or does she only care about what I do for her? In order for us to change a man's thinking about that, we have to first become more sweet inside our soul. We have to become more happy inside. We have to deep dive into loving self, see. Here's what's real, and I'm going to get real raw real quick. If you don't love yourself wholeheartedly, you cannot love another person. And if you don't know your purpose, you cannot love another person in a fullness and wholeness. So all of that agony you're giving that man, all the frustration when he comes home and he can't breathe and you're just going on and on about what he's not doing, oftentimes comes down to the fact that you are unhappy and undeserving of your own personal value in you. This is why you're doing all of that. You're not doing your work. A man should be able to come in your presence and feel so much joy that you are right here with him because you are excited to be here on the planet, number one, and you love you. Okay? Stop all this agony. You're a mess. You're an absolute mess. And then you expect for a man to just, want to be all over you, want to spend all his money on you? Excuse me? You can't even give that man a plate. You can't even check for him. You can't even help him to make a business decision. You can't even check to see what his new visions are. When's the last time you checked to see the current version of the man you're in bed with every night? When's the last time you checked to see if you're up to date? Because a lot of women are still in when y'all first dated. You're so caught up in yesterday that you have no idea of the current version of man he is today. How do you think there's so many work wives out here? Shall we be honest? Because she's current. She knows the current version of him. He's telling her of the things he needs and what he wants and how he wants to get things done. And he's telling her of his dreams, his visions, and things of that nature. This is how men end up being in bed with women that you would be just, oh my God, I can't believe he would pick her. She's not even that cute. It ain't got shit to do with her prettiness, but everything to do with him caring about being safe with that woman or woman. See, a man feels very comfortable with a woman who shows that she cares about him. Problem is, nobody is honest about this, but most women don't care very well about themselves. But we become wives, we become girlfriends, we become mothers, and have a shitty, underdeveloped love of self. And then we're doing all this nagging and complaining and back and forth with our man, to the point where he just gives you what you want so you'll shut up. You're an agony to that man, and you know it, but you won't change it, right? But then here's what's so funny to me. You'll be the first one to go out here and exploit him and tell everybody about how he's sleeping with this one and sleeping with that one and he ain't worth a damn. Whole time when he comes home, you are giving that man agony, attitude, right? Oh, and let me not forget the attitude. Oh no, I cannot leave this video without making sure I bring up attitude. Because let me tell you something about attitude, because this is essential. This is the second thing that you have to work on or change, or you're going to continue to have this madness going on. A woman's attitude towards her lover is essential. Do you stay angry way too long? Do you hold on to shit from 3, 4, 5 decades ago? You still mad about it? You still holding on to the fact he didn't let the toilet seat down 6 times in a row, and you're still mad about it? And even when he gets close to you, you hemming and hawing and rolling your eyes? That is irritating as hell. No man wants to come home to still being persecuted for something that happened months and months ago, years ago. You're still holding on to stuff. You're still being a jerk to him. Let me tell you something about treatment, and I'm going to get off of here. If you don't change the way you treat your man, someone else will give him a very different outlook on how well treatment looks. See, when you understand the power of just treating a man well, you will see a whole different side of a man, and you won't have to tell him shit. He's getting everything he can possibly think of in his mind for you. You know why? Because your attitude is much more pleasing to him. He enjoys you. He likes to be around you. You're the first person when something happens, negative or positive in his life, you're the first person he's calling. Know why? Because you treat him well. You have a great attitude. He can depend on you to bring him out of his sadness, his depression, his agony, his concern. You're a great person. You're a great asset to him. So that man is not going to be like, oh, I don't got nothing to do with her, when he knows you're his peace. This is what peace looks like, ladies. You see, when you care about certain things, when he can bounce off of you something that's going on in his life and you can be a problem solver, man, that man's not going anywhere. He's not. Poly or not. He's going to be right there with your ass. Trust me. Because you know why? You're an asset. That is peace. When he can sit down and be like, listen, I got this going on. Can you help me? And if you can't help him, you can give him some resources who can. You're often studying and learning and challenging your own mind and trying to make sure you have peace in your life. That's how you become his peace. Because you stop all the agony. You stop all the hatred. You stop all the holding on to stupid ass shit that don't matter. Do you know you only, like I tell people all the time, black women, we are on the planet 71.1 years, and that's it. Our time is up. That's our life expectancy. Can we extend it? Absolutely. Is the plan to? Absolutely. However, we have to look at this shit and start getting serious about it. You want him to be with you? You want him to seek you out? You want him to spend time with you? You want him to make love to you? You want him to buy you things and take you here and there? You want him to be all of that to you? But you have an attitude and all you do is nag him to death? That's not going to work, baby girl. It's not. You're going to get cheated on. You're going to get left. Or you're going to be constantly ghosted. Whatever the hell it is. But you're not going to be in his space to where he can't wait to get home to you. You're going to be the last person he thinks of. Real women out here that are asset to a man, that bring him peace. And I just gave you 2 major ways how you can be his peace. They get sought after. They are the first person they contact when they got something going on, positive or negative. Because they can feel she cares. They can feel she can be dependable. If you don't have that, if you lose sight of how important these 2 attributes are, you are going to constantly be second string or cheated on or left. Now, I gave you a lot here today. I need you to watch this 4 times. Share it with your friends. Sit down on Sunday, after church or during church, and watch it again. Because I don't think you guys get it right away. I have to keep talking for you guys to finally let it sink in. You don't understand the importance of making sure you're his peace, but I'm tired of you guys not understanding what peace looks like to a man. Okay? Now you can't use that as an excuse. I gave it to you. And I didn't give it all to you, but I gave you 2 majors. Stop all that nagging and fix that attitude. And my love, you won't have to wonder where he is, because he'll be right there in the bed next to you. Any questions? It's your coach, Carla Nicole. I'm signing off. And if you want to get a hold of me, my website is smileandtip.com. My phone number is 844-5-WISDOM. Extension 0. Best kept.